Story time. So, as I'm talking about intuition, I also want to talk about why I believe in angels and a higher source. Okay, before I get into that, I feel like I need to talk about how I was born and raised in deep Christian, right? I was born and raised in the church 2 to 3 times a week, every summer Bible study. What's it called? Vacation Bible study, VBS. Right. I was in it thick. Um, I had an uncle who preached. I have an older brother that is a preacher. Uh, Even though we were not raised together, he still landed in the same church and was a preacher. Right. I personally, I have nothing against anybody who has their religion. Let me just put that on the table right now, okay? I am not against anybody at all for their beliefs. My own, I am very spiritual, deeply spiritual, but it took me a very, very long time to get to where I'm at right now. Uh, I left the church when I was, I don't know, probably 12 and spent a good decade out of it. And then church bounced a lot. I have what I know now is trauma, religious trauma, to the point where the Bible terrified me. Okay. Absolutely terrified me. And I would have nightmares after certain sermons. Okay. Just nightmares. Anyway, so I just want to put that out there that I respect everybody. Like, you do you. Me, I'm deeply spiritual and I have my own beliefs. And I am and always have been connected to angels, even though I did not even though I haven't had a strong inner knowing of intuition to my own higher self, I've always had a connection with angels in some way. And my grandma used to tell me all the time that I had a guardian. I had to have had a guardian angel to have survived everything that I have been through. And it's only been recently and doing all of the digging up through my past and my younger years have I been able to come to terms with the fact that with the religious trauma, I as much as I have a angelic team around me, I've always also had a strong pull from the other side. And it tormented me. But lately, I've been really going through the times where I know that I had angels around me. And here's a little story. One of the times that I ran away, in fact, I do believe that this is the last video that I made, one of the last videos I made. I talked about when I went to Connecticut. I was, remind you, I was 13 years old, 12, 13 years old. Like, I was a baby. All right, not really, but, looking back, I was a baby. And out just roaming around, free as a bird. I had every reason in the world to be scared, but I never was. I was fearless. And this one particular time, I was in an apartment complex, and I was walking from where I had stayed the night, and this woman, she's sitting outside her apartment, I believe on the sidewalk, and she yelled at me. She called me over. Well, I was a cocky kid, and I'm like, whatever, okay. So I go over there, and she says, "Girl, you need to go home. You need to go home. Your grandpa is dying. Your mom is very, very sick. She's in the hospital." I know. Looking back at, my young self, looking at her, thinking, "Woman, you are crazy. Who are you?" Literally nobody even had my real name. I went by, I believe, if I remember right, I went by the name Shelly. That was my cover name, Shelly. And nobody even knew my real name. I was thousands of miles from home. So, like, who are you and what are you talking about? That, like, this woman totally freaked me out. And I played her off. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? But she told me all this. And I walked away from her telling me my grandpa was dying, my mom was very, very ill, and she was in the hospital. I was dismissive. This woman's crazy. I walked to a bus stop just 2 minutes away from where she was sitting. And a pimp walked up, sat next to me in the bus stop, right? And he's telling me how pretty I am and this and that, and he can give me some new clothes. I don't remember a whole lot about this conversation. I just know that I knew what he was, and I knew I wasn't going for it. At least I had that about me. But he was trying hard. And right at that time, a cop pulled up in front of us. And this cop obviously knew the pimp, ran him off. And the cop was questioning me. What was my name? This and that. Where I live, blah, blah, blah. I was a runaway. I wasn't telling him shit, right? Well, I end up at the police station. And I know I tried to hold on to my story for a while, but ultimately spilled the truth. And next thing I know, my dad and uncle are flying all the way to Connecticut to come retrieve me. And I end up going and staying at somebody's house. That night, the cops put me in like a temporary, uh, what's it called? I forget what it's called. A shelter for the night where I was being watched. And that next morning, I was taken to the airport, and I'll be damned. My grandpa was dying, and my mom had had a stroke, and something with her diabetes at the time too. But she was very, very, very sick, very sick. Both of that woman was right. She was right about everything. Like, I don't know. Like, I know that there are people that are gifted like that, right? I know that it could have very well been her gift, but I believe it was my angels that led to all that. I was protected from that pimp. I was taken back home. That was like one of the major times of my life that stuck with me all these years of knowing I am protected. Very protected. There is something else out there besides me. No matter the religious trauma that I have had, I've always known that there is a connection. I know I gave my angels a run for the money. Like, I know that they probably are pretty exhausted with me by now, right? But anyway, that was story time. Just wanted to share that. Peace out.